Security Watch welcomes you to day 3 of the INDISEC 2009 at New Delhi here in India. We'd like to introduce two special people on this particular show. One is of course Peter Delhammer. Peter, welcome. The other is a very special persona whom you've seen in Hollywood movies, particularly the James Bond movies. And this is the mighty and the well-known, well-respected, the Walther PPK. Yeah. So Peter will now tell us more about this marvelous pistol, which is the weapon of choice of James Bond. And Peter, we'd like to know what is so good about this particular weapon, and why is it so widely used, and why does James Bond want to use it?
This is a very good question. Thank you for asking this. First off, we checked if this gun is clear, so it is clear, absolutely safe. We got to go back in time now. The time when the father or mother of the PPK came out, that was 1929. The PPK came out 2 years later, 1931, and the feature of the PPK is that it is a little bit smaller than the original PP. By the way, PP stands for police pistol, and PPK, the short version, is police pistol criminal. So, and if you go back to the year of 1929 and you think about what guns were available by then, you would find only very simple pistols or extremely large pistols for military use, for example. So in those days there was no gun available on the market which combined two kind of trigger actions in one pistol: a manual safety, a loaded chamber indicator, an outside hammer which would decock when you operate the safety, and a press button for the mag release on one side. I'm talking about the combination of all these features, and this is what makes the PP very distinct to other pistols of these days. Yeah.
In fact, at that point of time, around the 1940s or thereabout, there was another beautiful pistol called the Luger.
Correct.
Yeah. Was that also a Walther product?
No, the Luger actually carries the name of its inventor or designer. It was Adolf Luger. So he designed his pistols before the turn of the century. It started in the 1890s somewhere, and this is when his pistol came out. So his pistol used a different design for the locking operation or locking mechanism, and it was a more complicated thing. And this pistol involved a lot of handwork and they hand-fitted the parts in assembly. This is something we don't want to have today.
Okay, great. Is this an automatic pistol?
Automatic in a way that it loads after firing around the next target the next cartridge into the chamber, and the user just has to pull the trigger again. So we would call that semi-auto, because a full auto gun would fire until you release the trigger.
So that's great. Now, how fast can this be fired by law enforcement agencies? What is the rounds per minute or second?
Well, you have to make a difference now. Number one is the skill of the user of the gun. So if he's got a very fast finger, he can do, I don't know how many rounds per minute. And the mechanical feature, like we're talking about physics, masses which have to be accelerated, springs have to work properly. Mechanically, it can do 600 rounds per minute.
That's quite a lot. 600 rounds per minute is quite a lot. How does that compare to, say, the AK-47?
AK-47 is in the same range because, if you are going to use a gun in full auto fire, then you always have to consider your number of rounds in your magazine, and you don't want to waste ammo. So if you go to a higher capacity, rounds per minute, then you're wasting a lot of ammunition. And it turned out in the past, from the experience, that 600 rounds per minute is a very good cadence, we call that.
We'd like to know, Peter, if you could give us a small demo of 3 of your favorite weapons that you've got here to India. We'll take the demo with Peter shortly.